those of us that have come out of a man-made system of religion, denominationalism, if you will, looking for a truer, more Hebraic root to the understanding of Scripture, at this point in our walk, would we say it's been worth it? Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 4, Torah portion Toldot. Let's go to chapter number 26. During a time of famine and drought, Yitzhak and family go down to the land of the Philistines, where he sows into the ground and receives 100-fold return. Here the word or the phrase 100-fold is referenced by the Hebrew word sha'ar, to cleave or to split open. So he's dug and split open into the earth and sown seed, and he has received a great return. Sha'ar also happens to suggest the idea of a gate, that which is opening to us. Could it be that in his act of belief that he has also seen and received benefit from an open gate into the heavenlies? It's amazing what obedience will do. He then begins to redig the wells of his father Abraham, calling them by the name of that Abraham called them. These are wells that the Philistines had filled with dirt. Rather than receive the benefit of life-giving water, they chose to fill them with their flesh, with their earthiness. Those who preach a flesh-driven doctrine that would like to turn the covenant of Abraham into a money-making, wealth-oriented blessing, rather than a walk of obedience, preach such a Philistinian doctrine, a Philistinian church mindset. Again, it's those who want to take the covenant, the Torah, the blessing, the life and benefit, the blessing of Abraham, and suggest it's about getting rich and indulging yourself. That's not what the word declares. So Yitzhak, as he's digging these wells, he calls them by the name that his father called them. The first one he calls Isaac, from the root asak, which means to press upon, to violate, to oppress, to defraud, to do violence, to get something deceitfully. The rabbis teach us that the Philistines said to Yitzhak, "The hole that you dug is yours, but the water in it is ours." Very contentious statement, yet it's not unlike what was said to us from the Orthodox Jewish version of things. You can have the teachings of Yeshua if that's what you want, but the Torah belongs to us. The Torah is the teachings of Yeshua. Rather than pile on the Orthodox, and I understand where they're coming from in their protection of the Torah, it's not also unlike those from our seminaries who stand in pulpits and say that the water actually belongs to us. We are the ones who have been qualified and know how to teach and preach the word. And so they offer their spin on their doctrines, bringing about strife and contention, unfortunately. Rav Shaul spoke about them in Philippians chapter 1, verse 15 and 16. He said, "Some indeed proclaim Messiah even from envy and strife, but some also out of pleasure. The former announced Messiah from selfish ambition, not sincerely, thinking to add distress to my chains." The word sikna, the second well, is suggesting hostility and accusation. This is also of the Philistine church system. Again, the herdsmen strove with Yitzhak at this well. It's where the masses began to ask why there's no life in the doctrines that are being proclaimed, and the response is, let's attack. If things don't go to suit us, if some new decision is made, if we change something that is traditional, the response is, let's attack and fight about it. This is the same thing that happened in the time of Yeshua. He spoke the words of life. He offered a change. He offered hope. He offered a return to the true understanding of the Torah. But because it didn't fit the teachings of the rabbis of that day, the response was, attack. Let's fight about it. And that they did. Yet when they came back for him, they said, never a man spake like this man. The religious systems do not understand, nor do they want to hear an anointed word of the Father. They want to qualify the word by the presenter, his charisma, his approach, his style. Yet we just need to hear the word. Rehovot, The third well that Yitzhak redug, spaciousness and room. Finally, this is a place where you and I can stand and have room and drink from water that gives us life. For those of us that have been on this journey, we've faced these wells. We've been to Isaac, and there we have been mistreated, violently opposed, argued with, contended with. We've had those that have made their accusational, defrauding statements against us. And it was a hard well to dig. It was a hard well to get away from. But then we proceeded to the next well where we found accusation and hostility. People have hurled insults against us. Why would you try to return to righteousness under the law? There is none. They took offense when you and I tried to say something, tried to share some insight. They argued. They debated fiercely with us. Keep on walking. Stay on your journey. Rehovot is out there. It's before us, perhaps. A place where you and I can take life-giving drink and find room. A place for us. It's important that you and I provide a sense of refuge or an oasis for those that are on this journey. For those of you that have found a place to settle down, to grow, to prosper, to learn, to worship, to dance, to celebrate, to have family and fellowship, remember that there are many, many on the dirty trail behind you, eating dust, getting away from the things that have held them back, and they're just learning. There needs to be a sense of patience on our part, that when they arrive, that we're willing to share from the waters that we're currently drinking from, and patiently, carefully, and compassionately teach them what they don't yet understand. Not making demands either shape up or ship out. We need to provide a sense of healing and hope for those that are still on this journey. Finally, we come to Beersheba. It's a well of the covenant. Abimelech and Phicol come and they're wanting to deal with Yitzhak about this well. This is a repeat of what happened to his father Abraham. And so as they come to dealing with the well of the oath, let's be reminded then that this is the springs of the waters of life. It says in the book of Yeshayahu or of Isaiah, I believe chapter number 12, that you shall draw water with joy from the fountains of Yeshua. The water that you drink, make sure that it's the waters of life, the genuine teachings and heart of Yeshua. Studying the Torah, studying the rabbinical writings, studying the deeper writings that they have offered is a wonderful and encouraging thing. And I encourage it. But be balanced with Yeshua and understand that it's a revelation. The Torah is a revelation of the Mashiach more than anything else. Yeshua needs to stand up in the middle of every page. What I also find interesting is at the end of this chapter, Esau, seeing all that his father has gone through, instead of learning lessons and cleaving to the truth that his father has fiercely debated and struggled and fought about, he turns and marries into the daughters of the pagan people around him. Indulgent, self-seeking, prideful, arrogant, fleshly. Yah says in the book of Malachi, Yaakov I have loved, Esau I hated. Stay on your journey. Don't be Esau. Don't become indulgent. Don't allow your flesh to get the best of you. Stay true to the covenant and draw with joy from the waters of Yeshua. We'll talk again tomorrow. Till then, shalom.